COVID-19. Coach Alexa here. As some of you may know, as well as being a running coach, I'm also a sports massage therapist, and it's come up in conversation a couple of times with my patients recently about the fact that I am yet to meet somebody who is symmetrical. And then a few weeks ago, I spotted a study on Twitter, which I can't find again because I can never find anything again on Twitter, about saying that around 90% of the population have a discrepancy in leg length, which means that one leg is slightly longer or shorter than the other one. And it really put into perspective my sense from treating people over the years and assessing people's running technique, etc., that I certainly haven't come across anyone who's symmetrical. Now, why is this? And it's a really interesting question, isn't it? So the way I think about it is from a very early age. For example, we have a dominant hand. We have a natural hand that we're kind of reaching out and grabbing stuff and normally just sort of fishing it into our mouths to chew and eat and explore. As we start walking, might have a dominant leg that we will naturally take our first step of the stride pattern with. And so, I have a slightly bigger, longer right hand than left hand. I certainly have a stronger right arm than left arm, regardless of whether I'm strength training my upper body or not. And no matter how hard I try and work on keeping that strength training symmetrical, this right arm always seems to just be a touch more strong, and more capable, I guess, slightly bigger from a hand skeleton perspective. And that's probably more than likely down to the fact I'm right-handed, so I just do more stuff with my right arm. So day to day, outside of my specific strength training sessions, I end up training my right arm more, but just because I do things with it. I always lift up the kettle with my right arm, probably. I haven't even noticed that I'm doing it, but thinking about it now, I think I do always pick up the kettle with my right arm. So, that's a bit of, at this cold time of year, pretty good, consistent strength training. So we will automatically have these slight differences side to side. Some people, it's more noticeable than others. So I work with a chap, for example, who's in his 70s. He's worked in the building trade all his life, started in that profession when he was around 16 years old. Now, male skeletons don't completely mature and solidify into their final adult state until they're in their early 20s. Women's are a little bit earlier. So he'll have had a good 6 or 7 years of his professional life whilst his skeleton was still developing. And because our bones, like our muscles, tendons, all of our bodies, adapt to what we ask them to do, he'd have been doing pretty hard kind of manual work throughout each day. He's right-handed as well, a lot of it with his right arm being dominant, and as a result, not necessarily the hand length like mine, but the literal width of the finger joints and finger bones in his hand is noticeably bigger on the right than the left. His skeleton on that right arm particularly will have developed to be stronger because of the loading he was putting through on a regular basis when he was in his teens and his skeleton was still maturing. I have a slightly more dominant right leg and a longer and slightly wider right foot, probably as a result of the fact that I have had a lot of joint problems on my left-hand side. So from a relatively young age, I probably favoured that right leg a little bit. And as a result, it's developed to be skeletally bigger and muscular still. No matter how hard I work on my strength training, the right leg always wants to just be that little bit more muscular than my left leg as well, just by a small amount. So a few examples there to show that nobody is symmetrical. I've certainly not met anyone who is, and it was nice to see that study about 90% of us having a leg length discrepancy to back up what I'd seen out in the field, as it were. So yeah, just to point out, really, nobody is symmetrical. There are always going to be slight differences one side to the other in terms of how we move, how we run, how we walk, just how we're built. And that's fine. We're perfect just the way we are.